Mm. Oh.
Every day, we wake up with a plan. A plan to focus, to get things done, to be in control of our time. But within minutes, something shifts. We reach for our phones, just for a second. One notification turns into another. One video becomes 10. And before we realize it, we've lost control of our attention. Not because we're lazy, but because something much deeper is happening inside our minds. Distraction today is no longer just an occasional problem. It has quietly become our default state. The average person checks their phone dozens of times a day, often without even realizing it. We sit down to work, to study, or to think, but our attention doesn't stay where we want it to. It jumps from one thought to another, from one screen to the next. And over time, this constant switching comes at a cost. Our ability to focus weakens. Tasks take longer than they should. And the most concerning part is, this behavior starts to feel normal. We don't question it anymore. We just live with it. To understand why this happens, we need to look inside the brain. There is a chemical called dopamine. It's often misunderstood as the pleasure chemical, but in reality, it's more about anticipation. It's the feeling of wanting something, not necessarily enjoying it. Every time you receive a notification, every time you see something new, your brain releases a small amount of dopamine. And that tiny release creates a loop. You start seeking more, not because you're satisfied, but because you're expecting the next reward. This is why scrolling never feels complete. There's always something new, something unpredictable, and your brain becomes trained to keep searching. But this isn't happening by accident. The digital world around us is carefully designed to capture and hold our attention. Features like infinite scrolling remove stopping cues. Autoplay ensures there is always something next, without requiring a decision. Algorithms learn what you like, and continuously refine what you see. The goal is simple: keep you engaged for as long as possible. Because in this system, attention is not just valuable, it is the product being sold. The longer you stay, the more data is collected, the more ads you see. And over time, this system becomes stronger than your own intentions. Over time, constant distraction begins to reshape how we think. Deep focus becomes harder to achieve. Even short periods of silence start to feel uncomfortable. We reach for stimulation, not because we need it, but because we're no longer used to being without it. This affects more than just productivity. It impacts creativity, decision-making, even our ability to reflect. Moments that once allowed us to think deeply are now filled with noise. And without realizing it, we slowly lose the ability to simply sit and be present. But awareness changes everything. The moment you begin to notice distraction, you create a gap between impulse and action. And in that gap, there is choice. The goal isn't to remove technology from our lives. It's to regain control over how we use it, to decide when to engage and when to step away. Because attention is one of the most valuable resources in a world constantly competing for your attention, the ability to focus is becoming rare. And maybe, the real advantage is simply learning how to take it back.